So it's worth considering, like, what would you do if you had all of the freedom in the world? If you could do whatever you wanted to do, let's say, and there was no consequence. And I wonder how many of us would be better people for that. You're going to find that the limitations in your life are very oftentimes the things that make your life meaningful and worthwhile and purposeful and even worth doing. The things that we desire are the things that interfere with the things that we want. I'll say that again. The things that we desire oftentimes interfere with the things that we want. We desire to be distracted. We desire to eat poorly. We desire to not read. We desire not to think. But what we want is a great job, a good future, strong interpersonal relationships. And those two things are constantly at odds. There's what we want, and there's what we should have, what we should be doing. It really is to be freed from it, because we're captive of our desires. Those desires are the things that are easy to get to, but then they're also holding us back. What can I say, man? They can't all be bangers. That one just did not work. I'm going to delete that one and pretend like that one never happened. You will not find that one on YouTube. I guess think of it like this. We oftentimes think of freedom as having the capacity to do whatever we want to do. So if you were to wake up tomorrow and you could do whatever you wanted to do, think about the kinds of things that you would do. I wonder how many of you would say, you know what, I can do whatever I want to do. Heck, I'm going to go to school and get an education. Learn some things. Prepare myself for a better future. I wonder how many of us would say, oh man, I do whatever I want. Yeah, I'm going to sleep in the whole day. And then what? I don't know. Just kind of play it by ear because I can do whatever I want to do. And you can run into a problem in life when you get so much freedom that you really are allowed to do whatever you want to do. And then you discover the things that are valuable to you in that moment because you start to do those things. In other words, you find out who you really are by the things that you choose to do when you have absolute freedom. So in the case of like waking up tomorrow, what would you do? Then you find out what you're valuing. I wonder how many of us would say, I would absolutely go to school. And yet, if I ask people, do you value education? A lot of us would say, oh yeah, of course. Then you would go to school tomorrow. No, I wouldn't do that. Well, then how on earth would you get the education? I mean, I could watch YouTube videos. Sure, you could. But do you? As it is right now. No, we don't. It's kind of like when we say like the purpose of the phone is just for emergencies. How often do you have an emergency, really? We don't. How often do we actually use YouTube for education? I mean like even just active or passive education. And then we just run it because we want to learn some stuff. So we throw on a video about physics or something. Versus watching a video because it might have some information that's going to help us pass a test tomorrow that we can just kind of cram for. So it's worth considering, like, what would you do if you had all of the freedom in the world? If you could do whatever you wanted to do, let's say, and there was no consequence. And I wonder how many of us would be better people for that. You're going to find that the limitations in your life are very oftentimes the things that make your life meaningful and worthwhile and purposeful and even worth doing. If I brought out a Monopoly board, let's say, and we're going to play Monopoly, and we start to set up all the pieces, and as you're dividing up the money, I start putting hotels on all of the properties. And you're to ask me, well, what are you doing? I'm putting hotels on the properties. Why? Well, because I want to win. Yeah, but that's not how you play. You have to start off the game. Yeah, whatever, screw your rules. I'm putting hotels out here, so I'm going to win. Oh, really? Yeah, well, then I'm going to start taking all the money out of the bank. And then we start fighting over the money out of the bank. But now the hotels are already out, and then you just wipe all the hotels off, and you start putting down your own hotels. How long is this game going to last? Yeah, it's not going to last. But what is it that makes Monopoly worth doing, meaningful, purposeful? The fact that there are limitations to it. The fact that you've got these boundaries around the game that tells what we can and cannot do. Now, do we have to play Monopoly? No, we don't have to. But we agree to the rules. We willingly submit to the rules in order to make the game worthwhile. Now, can we change the rules up if we wanted to, if we both agreed to it so that we can make the game more fun in some way? We could do that, but the point is that we still have a set of rules to play by. What makes life meaningful and valuable and actually purposeful is the fact that there are rules and limitations to it. As soon as you remove all of the rules and limitations, life now becomes very difficult to manage. This is why people who have a tremendous amount of freedom go crazy a lot of times. Like I used the silly example, I think it was in this class before. If you came in here and I asked you to write an essay, let's say, and you asked me, well, on what? Just an essay. On what though? Yeah, just whatever, come up with something. I gave you all the freedom to decide your own topic, to decide everything about it. I wonder how many of us would never even start the essay. But if I said to you, I want you to write an essay on, I don't know, whether or not we should have school uniforms. The essay has to be 5 paragraphs. Your first paragraph has to be an introduction. Your last paragraph has to be a conclusion. You have to have 3 reasons for it. So there's 3 body paragraphs. How many of us go, okay, got it, and now we're comfortable going at it. And that's because we've been given a set of rules and disciplines. That's external discipline. That's a person from outside of you telling you, here's what you have to do. And a lot of us seek this. We go to people for advice. Oh, should I go to college? And then the person will just kind of talk to you, and then you'll be like, you tell me, should I go to college? That's a good question. Can you give me some direction? No, it frustrates us. It irritates us. Now, there's that external discipline that people can put on us. But now the hard part is when we have to decide on the internal discipline, the self-motivating things. That's one of the really hard things about school. We go through 12 years of school. You're told what time your classes start. You're told when you have to be there. You're told what desk to sit in. You're told which classes you're going to take. Everything in life is directed. And then suddenly you're given this option in life, this one option in life. Where are you going to go? College or not? And of course, there's a bunch of degrees within there. If college, which one? If not, then what? Job, military, whatever in there. And then that can start to bother us if we've never had any level of freedom or responsibility before. I guess that's how it works out. That unless you've had to actually work these things out before in your life, then having to impose self-discipline on yourself is really difficult. If you don't have any practice with it. It's like people go in the military, for example. A lot of times, same thing, they go through school, they end up in the military, and there's this stereotype. I don't know if you guys know it. When people go in the military, what's the first thing they buy? Yeah, exactly. A really expensive car, like a Mustang. Something like that. They're earning like $900 a month, and that, which to them is like $1 million a month because they've never had a job before. So, and then all their housing is paid for, their food's paid for, so they think nothing of dropping like $500 a month on a new car, which is over half of their monthly income. But it's like, whatever. Because then, $500 a month, and then, another $100 a month for the cell phone. And then you start adding those things up, and pretty soon they find that they're upside down on all their bills because they've never had to discipline themselves before. The discipline always came from outside. But as soon as you have to discipline yourself, these decisions become really difficult. Put the phone away or not. Respect people or not. Sure. But there are other things in there as well. What time do you wake up? If you have a day off, do you sleep in or do you wake up early? You get more done if you wake up early. But then of course that means you have to go to sleep at your normal time also the night before. It's self-discipline. But you're going to find that most of the things that are really valuable in our lives are found on the other side of self-discipline. If you just think about it from a very obvious perspective, the things in your life that you want, a lot of people are not going to help you get them because they want them as well. It's not really in their best interest to help you get those things a lot of times. There are people in your life who care about you, and assuming that they know what they're talking about, they can give you advice, but it's that self-discipline thing that's really hard for a lot of people. Eating the right thing. Why does it matter? Because you're a psychological and you're a physical being. So what you eat matters because it affects how your mind works. Then your mind affects how your body works. Then your body affects how your mind works. And your mind affects how your body works. It becomes this big circle. And everything in your life is better when you're in better condition this way. You can enjoy things way more. Sleeping is better. Working is better. everything in your life is better. You have more energy to do more things. But then, of course, that means not eating the thing that you don't want to eat. And so that goes back to the thing I was talking about earlier about gut biome. What can you do? Well, you have to reorder yourself. You have to train your body to like broccoli. You have to train yourself to like waking up early. You have to train yourself to like unseasoned chicken breasts. You have to train yourself to want to wake up early, and to put your phone away, and to exercise, and to read, and to think about what you read every day. And all of that stuff takes up a whole bunch of time, of course, which means it takes you away from the thing that is interfering with all of that. Because I think what we're going to find oftentimes is that the things that we desire are the things that interfere with the things that we want. I'll say that again. The things that we desire oftentimes interfere with the things that we want. We desire to be distracted. We desire to eat poorly. We desire to not read. We desire not to think. But what we want is a great job, a good future, strong interpersonal relationships. And those two things are constantly at odds. That's what we want, and that's what we should have, what we should be doing. That's why that last word, liberty, is so important. If you seek discipline, if you learn how to discipline yourself, you can liberate yourself. You can be freed from those things that are holding you back. But it really is to be freed from it because we're captive of our desires. Those desires are the things that are easy to get to, but then they're also holding us back. And so discipline is the thing that liberates you from those things. So, questions? Comments, concerns, complaints, criticism, critiques? What can I say, man? They can't all be bangers. That one just did not work. I'm going to delete that one and pretend like that one never happened. You will not find that one on YouTube. Who did I miss with the